All right, it's Beantown Fantasy Football. It's Week 7. This is the wide receiver edition. With me is Mark Fury, Ace Wonder, BG. I'm the Jaker. It's time to go. Mark Fury, who are you going to start at wide receiver?
I'm starting Steve Smith of the New York Giants. The good Steve Smith, the productive Steve Smith, the one that we should all have on our fantasy teams. He's facing Arizona, and Arizona, yeah, they have a great run defense, but they are terrible against the pass. The only team that has a worse pass defense than them is the Tennessee Titans. They're giving up 265 yards through the air, and Steve Smith is a proven #1 receiver with a quarterback in Eli Manning who was playing very well, except for one game last week against a tough Saints team. I look for Smith to go for over 100 yards and a score. Another one I definitely got to start is Wes Welker against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welker came back healthy last week, and he went over 150 yards. He looks to be on the same page with Brady again, just like they were a couple years ago. Brady's looking like he's starting to come back strong instead of missing those throws that he really should have made early in the year. It looks like the Patriots are finally starting to gel, and Wes Welker is going to be open all day long against this god-awful Tampa Bay defense. They can't cover anyone, especially someone as good as Wes Welker.
Yeah, they can't cover a book.
I think with the departure of Joey Galloway, there's going to be more cohesion on that team. All right, who are you sitting?
Well, I really shouldn't have to tell you this, but I will anyway. You should bench Terrell Owens, or just flat out drop him. Terrell Owens is averaging 35 yards a game. Why do you even want a guy like that on your fantasy team? He's putting up numbers that Mushin Muhammad is putting up.
Yeah.
I mean, and Muhammad's not owned anywhere, unless you're in a 14 or 16 team league. Owens is the same way. He's got no quarterback to throw to him. He's not as fast as he used to be. He still has bad hands. He's going against a really good defense this week in Carolina. They're the second best pass defense in the league. They're not going to get it going this week. Owens might get shut out again. I don't want to have anything to do with him. If you can trade him, trade him. Maybe you'll get someone good like Delhomme.
Yeah.
Terrell, if you're watching.
T.O., I got your back. I'm starting you this week against Carolina. I don't care what the numbers say. Carolina's still a terrible tackling team, and I know you can take one to the house.
He's got to catch it first.
Hey, that's right, you know.
Well, we'll get more from you
slant
in a second. Ace Wonder,
Sure.
you're up. Who are you starting at wide receiver, Week 7?
Hey, he's sitting T.O. I'm starting Lee Evans. He looked like he got some great chemistry with Ryan Fitzpatrick there in the second half against the Jets. He had his best fantasy game of the year. I think T.O., I mean, he's still going to draw at least single coverage, so Evans will have a little bit of space, and I think Evans will be a solid play this week. Gonna have maybe 6-7 catches, around 80-90 yards, score. I think solid game. I also think you gotta start Dwayne Bowe, the Kansas City Chiefs, going against the San Diego Chargers. He's also had he's looking like his chemistry with Matt Castle's improving. You know, he's a definite #1 receiver on that team. And I think he'd be on any team. I think Dwayne Bowe, solid game this week against the Chargers. He's gonna be toasting Antonio Cromartie all day. Over 100 yards, a score, Dwayne Bowe.
I like it.
I'm
Very
with
nice.
you on that one. Just like we talked about in the running back edition. Doesn't matter if the game's close, garbage time points count too.
Yeah.
And Matt Castle has become the king of the garbage time touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to throw him to Dwayne Bowe.
Exactly.
So somewhere over the Dwayne Bowe, there are fantasy points for the fan this week. Who are you not starting at wide receiver?
I'm not starting Antonio Bryant, Tampa Bay Bucks in London. I mean, people might have seen him as, you know, a pretty solid receiver coming off a 1,000-yard year last year, but not this year, fellas. Josh Johnson doesn't look like he could hit a barn with the football right now. Forget Antonio Bryant. He's going to struggle again this weekend. If you're looking for him to rebound, maybe, it's not going to happen against the Pats.
Patriots are going to smother him. All right, Ace, thanks very much. BG, it's your turn. Wide receiver, who should be in the fans' lineup in Week 7?
You got to play Santonio Holmes against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, Antoine Winfield went down. Hines Ward looks like he's starting to pick up where he left off a few years ago, so I think that Santonio Holmes is going to be putting up big numbers again, especially since Winfield's out. It's probably going to be a shootout between Pittsburgh and Minnesota. So play Santonio Holmes, look for him to get a couple big touchdowns, maybe like a 50-yard or 60-yard, probably put up like 100 yards or so. And another receiver, a little sleeper one right here, Mr. Bobby Wade versus San Diego Chargers. Ace already explained what's going on in Kansas City against the Chargers. Yeah, it could be garbage time, but Bobby Wade's been one of Matt Castle's favorites right now. I mean, he's pretty much like a slot receiver, catching a lot of passes. He takes punts, kicks. I mean, I'd play Bobby Wade against the Chargers. Keep riding him.
I mean, I think Bo would be more desirable, but hey, Wade is also.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a bye week fill-in. I mean,
I think it's a well
Right.
thought out pick.
You're in a bigger league, Wade. You can do a whole lot worse than Bobby Wade.
bro.
All right,
I'd
that's
take him over Owens, that's for sure. Real football and fantasy
I'll
football.
take Jesse Owen.
all right. That's gutsy.
I'll take Spike Owen over Terrell Owens. I'll take Owen Hart over Terrell Owens.
And definitely all got better hands, that's for sure.
Now,
Yeah.
All right, who's not going to be in the lineup going into week 7?
This week, don't play anybody on Washington. Play everybody on Philly. I'm sitting Santana Moss against Philly. Asante Samuel, Ellis Hobbs, Washington.
Really?
Don't play Santana
Enough said.
Moss.
Enough said.
Jason Campbell.
Jay
A-
Campbell.
Ah,
an offensive coordinator who was calling bingo a couple weeks ago.
Man, you gotta sit Santana Moss. I mean, like, yeah, it's a division game. It's Monday Night Football, but I mean, come on, like, it's in Philly.
Yeah.
Philly, like we all said, they're gonna bounce back. Washington's atrocious. Jason Campbell's atrocious. Santana Moss is nice, but Jason Campbell's atrocious. So don't play Santana Moss. You get all that?
yeah.
Jason Campbell, bad. All
Yeah.
right, we got it.
Atrocious.
We got it, PG. All right, my turn. I am going to start the Swiss Army knife of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if you don't know his name yet, you should. His name is Mike Wallace, and this is where I gotta disagree with you, man. Santonio Holmes, I own this guy. In 4 weeks, he's had 200 yards. He had a 100-yard game last week. He still couldn't find the end zone. Neither did Mike Wallace, but I think that's going to change. They're going against a Minnesota defense that gave up 385 yards passing last week to the Ravens. And I think that Mike Wallace, he also rushed last week, 20 yards, something extra. Definitely look for Mike Wallace to go over 100 yards total and a touchdown. I like it. My second must start of the week is Robert Meacham of the New Orleans Saints. Last week, he confused the Giants and wound up with 70 yards and a touchdown. Miami's defense is nowhere near as good as the Giants, and he torched them. I think you could look for similar numbers for Meacham. There's plenty of touchdowns to go around when Drew Brees is around.
That's
So
right.
you better believe that Meacham is going to become a much better red zone target with a double coverage going on Colston. It's going to open up the opportunity. I think this week he goes over the century mark, finds pay dirt as well.
Yeah.
That's right. I agree with you on that. I mean, you gotta love the Saints receivers. I mean, they got the two guys that can jump and go get it, in Colston and Meacham. And you got Lancey Pansy Moore and Debris Henderson, the speed guys. And Breeze is gonna throw close to 400, so you gotta figure it's gonna divide out. Everybody's gonna get 100. So Meacham would be a great pick. If you don't got him on your team, get him now.
Saints are they're becoming an easy team to like. I think no matter where you are, you gotta admire their
And you got the
talents.
best play caller in the league and the most accurate quarterback in the league. You can do some damage.
All right, we've sung the praises of Meacham and Wallace, but now we're going to bury somebody here this week, and that is Steve Smith of the Carolina Panthers. A huge disappointment. Here's a guy, top pick, looking for big things. Maybe he clicked with Delhomme. Delhomme doesn't seem to be clicking with anything or anybody.
Yeah, man.
Nothing seems to be
Defenses.
clicking on Carolina. It's a tough year. So, I mean, enough said. Steve Smith not clicking. I mean, time to sit him. Great flex plays out there. Wallace is not owned in a lot of leagues yet. Go ahead and get him. Go ahead and sit Steve
Yeah,
Smith.
you gotta sit Steve Smith. He left all his fire in Ken Lucas's face last year.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Week 7 running back edition. For BG, Ace Wonder, Mark Fury, I'm the Jaker. Thanks for joining us. Keep watching.